Hi guys. Oh God, what a day! I just got back from setting up the stands at the Northwest Strength Expo, and I've just been doing some plans for clients. Bit knackered. Way behind this week. I promised you two videos, one on Osterine and the one I'm going to do now. I will do the Osterine tomorrow night when I get back from the expo, so you will have it this week. It's going to be Saturday. So, what I wanted to talk to you about was bit of weird. I didn't really know how to title it, to be honest. I'll put Mike's right over there. Sorry about that. Just lately, there's been a lot of talk on forums, on Facebook pages, and such like about deca only cycles. Now, there's nothing particularly wrong with this. Deca's used a lot in various treatments on its own. Um, and you get all the other things about decadic this and this problem and that problem. Oh, and it's better. And if you run tests, you get this problem, and so it's better not running tests because test causes decadic because it's due to estrogen. And shut the fuck up. The reason you have problems is because you fail to manage the drugs you take. Alright? It's not that one drug's better than another. Yes, certain drugs have certain properties and certain maybe more suitable in certain environments. Run into a competition, non-aromatizing agents are good because you can keep estrogen low. Now, normally you wouldn't want to keep estrogen low because it's unhealthy and it limits growth. But going into a comp, it also limits fat. So it helps with fat loss, it helps with a lack of water retention. And 4 or 5 weeks out from the show, you ain't fucking growing anyway. So, it has its places. But when people start saying, putting this with this is shit because of this or because of that, no, it's shit because you can't manage the drugs you're taking. It's shit because you don't understand how the drugs work. It's shit because you don't know what the side effects are. It's shit because you're guessing what's going wrong and throwing all sorts of shitty chemicals at it instead of getting a fucking test off your lazy ass and finding out exactly what's happening within your body. And, I've got nothing against deca-only cycles. I've got nothing against tren-only cycles. Well, all right, I have. Because of neural damage, and test has been shown to be a neuroprotectant at low doses. So there is an element of wanting to run tests with these drugs at some level for protecting the old noggin. But the point is, if your deca and test cycle was causing you problems, it's not because you put test with it. It's not because you mix the two together. It's because you're a dipshit and you don't know how to manage your drugs. Test aromatizers. So you need to manage your estrogen. Deca is a progestin. So you need to keep an eye on prolactin because it's going to artificially elevate progesterone in the body. And so you need to manage that. You may need a DHT because you may be looking at gyno-related issues. But if you don't understand how the drugs work and how they affect you, then you're going to fuck up. And you're going to have problems. Oh, it's because of this and I'm going to do it this way now. No, it's not. It's because you failed to take it correctly. Maybe it's just me and maybe it's just semantics, I don't know. But it pisses me off a little bit when people jumping up and down about this cycle or that cycle. And it's like, no, not really. It's just because you fucked up with the way you managed it. Yeah, some people generally don't get on with certain drugs. I mean, some people generally can't take tren. A few people generally can't take deca for various reasons. Certain orals can fuck certain people. So, some people, oxys, they eat the back end of a horse with it. Others can't eat fuck all. So, these things you definitely need to be aware of. But I wouldn't particularly say that deca only is better than test and deca. And I mean, from a health point of view, actually, probably you're better with a bit of test in there. But the fact is, it isn't really these drugs' fault. These drugs don't change what they do. They don't hide in the body and jump out and go boo. They do this, they do that, they do the other. Yes, all right, our understanding isn't the best at times. and we're still learning about the mechanisms of certain drugs because we're still learning about the effect they have in the body. But the basics are pretty solid, and you need to learn those in order to take that drug. Otherwise, why the fuck are you taking it? You know, you wouldn't jump in a race car without having some lessons on how to drive a race. Yeah, you might have a driving license, but driving your fucking 1.6 litre injection isn't going to be anything near to driving one of them mental things. You know, and that's the point. People jump into cycles with no knowledge of what they're doing. They get symptoms and they just throw things at it. You know, if you're going to use drugs that you're not too familiar with, and sometimes experience is a good learning curve. I learned a lot by just fucking taking it. But test. You know, what's your gyno caused by? Is it prolactin? Is it estrogen? Is it low DHT? So test, find out what's lacking, find out what's elevated, and then you can direct your drug protocols accordingly. So it's not that one particular cycle is better than another particular cycle, and really drugs should be your tertiary go-to. They should be the third thing. The amount of messages I get, what's the best stack for putting on mass? Steak and chicken. Sorry, but there you go. Because you ain't fucking growing without food. And there is no best cycle. There are certain cycles or certain drugs that are more fitting to a certain environment. But really, if you manage them correctly, if you use aromatizing drugs right up to a show, but you manage your estrogen correctly, there's no real issue with using them. It may be simpler to run DHT products, then that way you're not having to mess around with that. But it's not essential. You know, if you manage it correctly, you can do. But you're not going to know without testing, and you have to test in order to manage. And if more people fucking tested, we'd have more information coming back to us about what's going on, and we'd have a better understanding of what these drugs do. Because we can say, well, look, this person's this person's this. We're starting to see a pattern. We're starting to see something happening here. Oh, let's have a look and theorise what might be going on and test that theory. But because no one fucking tests, we have no information. So we're reliant on looking on studies on pharmaceutical, medical dosings and medical problems and trying to bastardise them into working, and we work out 250 mega test ain't fucking nowhere near 1.5 grams, and it's going to have a completely different effect in the body. So I suppose this has turned into a bit of a rant, but what I'm basically saying is, if you're going to take a compound, learn what that compound does and act accordingly. And if you have symptoms that could be caused by one or other mechanism, do a test. Medichecks, estrogen, prolactin and progesterone, which are the main three issues that we have, is 49 quid. And there's usually a discount code floating around somewhere. You can probably get it for 35. So bottle a test. And at least you're not fucking yourself up and you're not throwing compounds at a job that you don't need to. You're not overly low in your estrogen, so you're wasting your cycle. And you can have a more productive cycle. A more productive cycle means less time on, less drugs, better health. But, you know, everybody focuses on the drugs. I don't remember the last time someone messaged me and said, how would you train for mass? How would you improve muscle fiber stimulation? You know, or what do you eat for mass? It's quite simple, really. Eat a lot. Keep it low fat and keep it moderate carbs, moderate proteins, very low fat, and get as much in as you can. There's reasons behind it, which are complex. I'm not going to bother going into now because this is not what I'm ranting about. But the point is that the be-all and end-all isn't the drugs. They should be the last thing in the list. But at the same time, you should learn about what they do and how they work so you know how to manage them correctly. And then you're not going to be doing a deca only cycle because you can't manage estrogen. And then you're going to end up with fucking progesterone related issues, or prolactin related issues, or memory related issues, neuropeptide Y related issues, because you banged a load of deca in and you didn't know what the fuck you were doing. There is, as such, no bad steroids in that sense. The bad bit comes from the fact that you don't understand how they work, you don't understand the potential problems with them, and you fail to manage them correctly. If you manage these drugs correctly, side effects aren't a major issue, if an issue at all. And that's the difference between successful people that cycle and knobs that fuck themselves up. That's what I do. I try and help people with this shit. Most of my time is spent fixing problems. And all of these problems could have been avoided if someone just spent a bit of time. Anyway, I sort of went off track a bit there. But the basic point is that one cycle is not particularly better than another cycle. And if you're suggesting that a cycle's better because of side effects problems, then that's not the cycle's issue, that's your issue because you failed to manage it correctly because you didn't learn what the drug does, you don't test, you don't know what's going on, and you're just guessing willy-nilly. So, steroids don't fuck people up. People fuck people up. The drug is inert, it doesn't run up to you and jump in your system. You choose to use it, and with that comes a certain responsibility, and a responsibility for your own health and your own actions. And if you fuck up, put your hand up to it. Oh, it's so-and-so's. What? Trend's fault? Trend crawled up your ass and got in there on its own accord? Learn what they do. Learn how the drugs work. Learn how to manage the sides. And learn what to look for in tests. It actually isn't that difficult. There are lots of sources out there. You can always come to me. But there are plenty of other people out there putting out information. And the basics are quite established. But if you don't test, you don't know what's going on. And all you're doing is picking a chemical and throwing it at yourself in a hope that it might work. That's like your car breaking down and you're picking a spanner and throwing it at the engine in the hope that it might start again. It's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. The more complex you make your cycles, it might look fucking good on paper, the more difficult it is to track what's causing the problem. Just keep it simple. 1 or 2 injectables and an oral, boom, job's done. You don't need all the rest of the shit. You really don't. I've never understood why people up doses going into shows. You're not going to grow. So what's the point? And you're already feeling like shit. You've already got very low body fat levels. You're doing sodium and water manipulation. So why would you take more chemicals and make you feel even worse? Why don't you just take a minimum amount to maintain mass? Easy to manage, no sides, you feel fresher, the diet's easier, everything's better. But there seems to be this culture of taking more. Now, there is an element of an upregulation of fat burning, but take fat burners. Why take more gear? I've never understood it. Why 4 weeks out from show are you going to up the dose? To achieve what? What's it going to do? Apart from make you feel shittier. Always seems mad to me. Maybe I've got the wrong end of the stick, I don't know. Anyway, rant over. Sorry. And I'll get that off-screen video